this is Jeannie at Trendy Tree, and today I'm going to make a grapevine wreath. I've had to move my supplies into the kitchen for a little bit because my craft room, my sewing machine is out and it's covered up with face mask materials. And if you're looking for a video on how to make a face mask, I've got 2 or 3 out there. I've got a couple that are hand sewn, using elastic or using shoestrings for ties, or even, you know, hand stitched if you don't have a sewing machine. So anyway, so I have all that stuff spread out. So I thought the easiest thing to make this grapevine wreath would just be bring it in the kitchen. So I don't have my lights and my craft table and all that, so just bear with me. But I have this oval shaped grapevine and I love that. And you can't see it, I think in the well, obviously you can't see it, but I have a place up above my stove that I like to keep a wreath, and I want to change it and make it something a little more summery. So I have this garland. It's a green apple garland, and it's got really, really pretty green apples on it and some cream color flowers and some yellow berries. And my first thought was, it's about 4 feet in length. My first thought was to take the garland and just go all the way around the wreath and use the whole thing. And then I got to thinking that might be a little too much, and I thought I'm just going to take segments out of the garland and not go around the whole grapevine wreath. I think that I will just do like pieces on this side and then a bow. I've got a couple of ribbons. Of course, you know, all the supplies that I use come from Trendy Tree, and I'll give you the SKU numbers of all this. This garland is still in stock, and the flowers are kind of a creamy color, so I thought I might need a little white to brighten it up. So I've got a white hydrangea bush. I may use some of that, and then I've got this green twig. I thought I might need some of that. And then I have, if I need extra greenery, I have a bush that I had already cut up. Actually, I repurposed it. You know, when I make things for me here at the house and when I do tutorials, I try sometimes to make things that I can take apart or I can repurpose later. So like today, even though I'm using a grapevine and I'm going to be, you know, inserting things into it, I'm not going to use hot glue because I may want to take this apart and I may want to decorate it later in the summer, or I may want to put something else on it for this fall. Now, you're making wreaths to hang on. If I make a wreath to put on the outside door, yes, I'm going to hot glue each and every piece or put it in with a zip tie or wire. And certainly if you're selling anything, you want to do that. But this is for me, for my purposes here at the house, and I'm just gonna stick pieces, you know, in the grapevine because it's not gonna get any, it's gonna be stationary once I get it in place, so that will be fine. I brought 2 ribbons from Trendy Tree. I love this coral color check. It's a 2.5-inch ribbon, and then I have some Swiss dots in a lime green. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and take a couple of pieces of the garland and just cut it. I've got some heavy-duty wire cutters. And if you hear any noises, it's just me and Browser here at the house, and he's subject to jumping up and barking any time, so just beware. But I'm just going to take a segment that's got, you know, like apples on it and just cut it somewhere. Now these pieces will be kind of heavy, so I will probably, I'll probably want to secure that, you know, that if I just stuck that in the grapevine, it would, you know, probably, you know, kind of fall out. So I'm going to secure that with a zip tie or some floral wire. So I'm just going to cut a couple of pieces like that. And then if I decide, you know, I may want to use some more of this apple garland, you know, somewhere else in the house. It would be good for a floral arrangement too. I'm going to cut about 3 pieces. I can always cut more. But we'll just start with that. Now I brought my wreath board in the kitchen, and I'll switch. I'll show it to you in just a minute. whoops, browser, tripped me. So here's my wreath board. It's a piece of dry erase board that comes pre-cut from Lowe's. This is about a 24 by 36. It's black on one side and of course white on the other. And then I just used browser. And then I just used a command hook to stick to it to do my wreath. So I'm just going to lean it up against the wall over here. And then I'm going to zoom in a little closer so you can see better. Wait. Oh. Well, come in. Got a visitor.
Hey, bye.
Where are you going?
Hey, big fella. Was that handsome dog?
Y'all, she didn't stop to tell me bye. She stopped to tell the baby boy bye.
Handsome fella.
Carrie's headed to the beach, y'all.
So handsome.
All right. Well, y'all have a good time. Be careful. Here. What?
I know the daddy. Oh, you were so cute.
Okay, well, Carrie's on her way to Gulf Shores. She's taking a little break. David's still here in the warehouse. I tell you, Trendy Tree has been so busy lately, and they've been so blessed that they've been able to stay open. And of course, the warehouse is closed to the public, but they've been able to work in the warehouse and fill orders. So many people are shopping online that may have never shopped online before. I know we have a ton of new customers, but it's really kept them busy. They've been working long hours. They've hired extra folks, which is great, and they've been working weekends. So she deserves a break, and Dave will get one here maybe in a few weeks. Anyway, so I'm going to take the biggest piece that I have and go up, on this side, and then a smaller one here. And I'm just going to insert that down in the grapevine, push it in there pretty good, and then I'm going to secure it. See how heavy that is? It would kind of fall over if I didn't secure it. So I'm going to secure that with some small zip ties. Try not to pull I've got some small zip ties. I may have to go back and get some bigger ones. But I'm just going to try to slide my zip tie under the grapevine. And then go around the piece. Of course, you always put it in there backwards, There must be a trick to that. If you're not familiar with Trendy Tree, we have all kinds of wreath making supplies, mesh, ribbons, wreath forms, even zip ties, flowers, and all kinds of seasonal decorations. Let me get my wire cutters and snip that off. It will never show. You could secure it from the back too, but it won't show. And I'm going to put another one in that piece because it's a little heavy. I'm just sliding that zip tie through the twig. Trying to keep my head out of the way, y'all. Oh my goodness, and I have a hair appointment at 10 o'clock. I am so happy. I'm so glad that some businesses are beginning to open back up. I'm so ready for things to get back to normal. I mean, we can all be a little extra careful, but if we can go to Walmart, we ought to be able to go to the beauty shop. So anyway, I'm going this morning. These pieces are all wired, so you can just move them around any way that you want to. And I'm going to kind of put my pieces, some coming down this way, and then the others will go up toward that way. I'm going to leave an area right in here for a bow. Oh, this Garland number, this had a tag on it, is 300440005. Of course, that's zeros, not O's. And put one more piece. Just slide that up in there. And then kind of fashion my bow kind of between those apples right there, I think. Now the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and make my bow. And I've got to get my scissors, hang on. Okay, now I don't want much of a bow, and I want just something kind of really kind of loose and natural looking, I guess. So I'm not going to use a bow maker or anything. I'm going to tie it by hand. And if you notice, every time you open a new roll of ribbon, you've got that little crimped edge. You just might as well cut that off. I'm going to go ahead and just cut my ribbon at an angle. You can dovetail it or whatever you want to do. But I'm just going to make just a kind of a simple loop bow, and I don't have anything to measure with, but I've got about a 14-inch tail, and I can always make that smaller if I want. And I'm going to make about a 5 or 6 inch loop, pull that up, pinch it together, and then I'm going to bring a loop up from the bottom, the same size. Just pinch that up. The hardest thing about making loops is keeping them all the same size, all the same length. Of course, if you bring a ruler or something in here, you can measure that. And if I was at my craft table, that's what I would do. I'm going to make another loop from the top. And I'm just going to do 3 loops. Now, I'm going to go ahead and make a long loop from the bottom. That's going to be an extra tail. And I'm going to cut that ribbon free. So I've just got 3 loops. I'll go ahead and cut that tail so you can see that that's just an extra tail. So I've got 3 loops and 4 tails hanging down, and then I'm going to take the green and just go right on top of that. Cut that folded piece off. Make that tail about the same length. And then I'm going to make 5 or 6 inch loop. Just kind of, just an easy bow, nothing really special. And I'm just going to do 2 loops of green, okay? Just to give it just a little different color. The green is 1.5 inches. I'm going to cut that free. And I had already cut a piece of floral wire, about 18 inches or so. And now then, I'm going to go over the ribbon where I'm holding it with my thumb and just bring that wire to the back, and then I'm going to twist it. I'm going to hold the wire and twist the bow. And then get the tails to the front, and I got one of my green loops a little bit bigger than the other. So let me fix that. See, that's what you get for not measuring. So I'm going to undo that and make that one of those green loops a little bit smaller. I should have brought a ruler in to start with. Okay. No harm done. Now then, I'm just going to take my wire back off, make that loop, get them the same size. Okay, that'll just give me a little longer tail. Well, let me just start back over with my green ribbon. I dropped it. Okay, so I'm going to make my tail, pinch it together, make a loop that's the same size as my check, Bring a loop up from the bottom. Measure my loops. They look better this time. And now then I'm ready to put my wire, which I dropped. Well, I never did find it. I had to cut another piece, but that's okay. I'll find it in the morning when I'm cooking breakfast and step on it. Okay. So now then, secure the wire. We're going to twist it, start all over. Okay. So now we got our bow, and now we can just kind of shape it. It's all wired ribbon, so it makes shaping, much easier. You want to make sure you have all your tails coming to the front, or right side up is what I mean. Of course, you can always trim them once you get it done. Okay. So now I'm going to put it back on the wreath. So I'm going to position the bow right along in here, and I'm just going to take the wire and kind of run it. For this tutorial, I'm just going to run it around the grapevine. It's not going to show, and secure it in from the back. Okay, and then you can just kind of fluff out your ribbon. And you can trim those tails, and we can do that later. You can give those ribbons a little curl. If you wanted to chevron the ends of your ribbons, you just fold them, cut across the fold. Okay. So I just wanted just a kind of a loose, loopy bow, okay? Now, I have some extra greenery just to, give it a little more fullness. And I'm just going to work that into the grapevine in places. This is sort of like, this is all plastic. It's kind of like a curly leaf fern. Just a little more green, a little more texture. And like I say, I'm not hot gluing this because this is something that's just going to stay stationary in my kitchen. If I was going to put it on my door outside, I would hot glue all these pieces. There went my board. Sorry. Put some to the inside. And I have that green twiggy piece. This green twig, I'm going to cut some of those pieces off. Just using some heavy-duty wire cutters. I have a bush cutter at the store. But it's at the store, so that's not helping me. Carrie has a Trendy Tree City Mercantile store here in downtown Pontotoc, and she sells some items that she has on the Trendy Tree website, but then City Mercantile also has a great selection of gift items, perfect items for Father's Day, candles, pottery, Coontown pottery that's made in Oxford, Mississippi. She has, I dropped all this on the floor, she has properly tied t-shirts and ties that are also made in Oxford, Mississippi. This is just a green plastic twig, and I'm just gonna use some of that, just poke it right in there. I like that. It's kind of a willow-like twig. If you haven't visited the website, just check it out. It's trendytree.com, and you'll find all kinds of things, all kinds of wreath making supplies, and there's a lot of tutorials. Okay, now I'm going to stop right there. I think that's enough. I've used all the pieces of the little green twig. That looks a little loose right there, so let me just work on that a little bit more. But I like that. And I had this much left of the apple garland, so I had about, 24, 30 inches left. Two good pieces that would, make a good project. I wound up not using any of the hydrangea. I don't think I need to add anything else into it. I think this is fine just like it is. Sometimes, you just need to stop and quit adding things. So I'm happy with that just like it is. I love that coral color of that ribbon too, okay? Well, that's it. And you can trim these ribbons off if you want to. I'm not. I'm going to leave them just like they are. I like those longer tails. And of course, it's going to be hanging. I'll take a picture of it. It's going to be hanging up on this brick wall up above the stove. I can't reach it, so I'll have to wait till my husband gets home and let him do it. Okay. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I will have a blog post, and I'll have all the links. And if you look in the video description, it will contain the links too. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And stay safe. See you later. Bye-bye.